through that very quickly. We will go through that very quickly. So last week we attacked some silkworm sites, which have now fully been destroyed. And now that the forestal is able to move a little closer, we're going to start blowing up the Egyptians. They've responded by by mobilizing an armored attack across the Sinai Peninsula, and they're already knocking on our door at the Israeli border. And they want to go and destroy Ramon Air Base. So even though we're not based out of Ramon anymore, we're going to go over there and help them out and destroy the enemy before they can reach Ramon. There's the theater map, and pretty easy to tell. So we're all going to be based out of Hatzer, except we all. The F4s are going to be based out of Hatzer, and everybody else is in a carrier that you can barely see up by the title card there, theater map. The carrier located well north of the target area. Bad guys are at the target position right now. The little gold star right on the border. This is basically one of two major border crossings into the Sinai. And they're attacking into Ramon, which is to the east. You can see the forward enemy battle something. I can't remember what this stands for. This is where the bad guys own, and you can see well behind them is their strategic SAM coverage. So they have very uncharacteristically for this war pushed way past their SAM net and are vulnerable to airstrike. Forces in the theater. These are all our squadrons. I believe it's Bats for the F4s, Knights of the North for the A4s, and the F-14As are Red Rippers. Bad guys have lots of SAMs. They have SA2s and 3s in known positions that will not affect our package today, but SA6s have been deployed throughout the Sinai Peninsula, and we have no intel on where they are deployed. So SA6s may be a factor. And then on the ground, accompanying the threats that we're going to destroy today, are potentially SA8 geckos. These would be extremely lethal, extremely dangerous SAMs to encounter. And then we also have SA9 Gaskins, which are low altitude IR missiles, Manpads, which are low altitude IR missiles, and air defense, which could include Shilkas, 23 millimeter AAA, 57 millimeter AAA, or 100 millimeter AAA. Bad guy, enemy air, all of this is coming from Cairo region, so quite a far way away from the fight. But they will be flying in support of their ground forces, and I have no idea what the Israeli IAD's capability is. So without that knowledge, these guys will be fairly high priority threats. MiG-23s, MiG-21s, all from the period. So this is 1973. In general, you can expect the enemy's weapons to be inferior to ours or equal to ours as a maximum. MiG-23 is extremely lethal. MiG-21's a little less so. MiG-19s and 15s, even still significantly less dangerous, carrying crappy R3S missiles, and then the MiG-15, which has no missiles to speak of. Despite these being low priority threats, last week they gave us a run for our money and caused a lot of confusion and disruption in the package. So even though these guys are not particularly lethal, they're still a huge factor. Mirage F1, this would be one of the more dangerous aircraft that we could face. It's equipped with fairly good IR and Fox 1 radar missiles, specifically the Magic 1, which is actually an all-aspect missile in DCS. The Su-17, not particularly effective. And how are we going to IFF threats? Pretty simple, similar to last week, but different. Bad guys, if the point of origin is inside Egyptian airspace or coming from Cairo, they're declared a bandit. But we still can't fire on them until they do something that is hostile towards us. So hostile can be as simple as running towards you with a radar and their military aircraft, and you confirm that. But to confirm, last week we had a lot of IFF issues. Make sure we're using a valid mode 4, valid mode 1 or 3 to confirm you got friendlies.
Good evening.
Moving on down. Hey, he made it. Kajaxu, I'm just picking up where you would have left off going through the theater comp plan.
Yep.
Um,
Go ahead. You've started,
yeah,
so I'll let you finish. Crack on.
exactly. So comp plan is different from the UAF comp plan. For F4s particularly, you only have one radio, and we're not using the expansion radio in this one. Um, so pay attention to the blue block. That's where our tactical net is going to reside, although I can't remember exactly which channel that is. And then we've got airfield information on the right. So we're flying out of two different airfields, Hatzor and the Forrestal. And all the information for that is listed there. Com ladder, again, not what we normally do in UAF, but here you can see, so Blue 3, channel 13 for everybody is going to be our tactical net today. And that's going to have a human GCI on it, as well as the package when we're airborne. Channel 1 for everybody is our intraflight radio, so that is how you talk to your buddies. And then we have each airfield is going to be set up on, I believe, channel 4, button 4, for our respective home plates. Squadron Freaks, this is mostly irrelevant to us. It shows what your channel 1 is going to be set to in case there's a problem with it. You need to find that information out elsewhere. For the F4s, I'm not going to go into this in huge detail. We spawn in the blue block and we take off on 2-9 today. So
Red block.
2-9.
We are Bat Squadron today, flying out of the red block.
Cool. We're reds. We're taking off on 2-9 left, so right next to where we take spawn. Carrier ops, not going to get into it. Do your carrier ops thing. Era caveats, it's 1973, and with that means that you have downgraded missiles. For the most part, people are rocking AIM-7Es or Fs, and AIM-9Js, or in the case of the Tomcats, AIM-9 Limas. No GPS weapon, very little to no laser-guided weaponry. And now we get over into the package stuff. So actually, this was all theater briefing, and now we're talking about what we're actually doing today. So we're going to blow up and completely unknown, and this is actually helpful now that Kajax is here. What is the composition of the enemy threat? Do we have any idea what we're going up against besides armor and artillery?
We are attacking a thrust towards Ramon Air Base by the Egyptian ground forces. We are attacking at the FIBA. So you can expect this to be what you would expect from a standard sort of bulk mechanized division pushing towards an airbase. So we can expect some tanks, various light armor, almost certainly escorted by mobile AAA or mobile SHORAD systems. So SA9s and SA8s are potentially in the area. Where they're attacking out of a town towards Ramon, so they may have more fixed emplacements in the town, but they are attacking across approximately 8 miles of open desert. So once they're out there, they'll be reasonably exposed. But largely, you can expect a combined mechanized. If I could put down a bunch of infantry that would be useful, it would be a mech infantry push across the thing, but that's irrelevant. So
it's
1973. It's big mechanized. Yeah, it won't be a full division because this is DCS, and I don't want you all to lag. But that's what you should be envisioning.
Lovely. Okay. So we have 3 flights. They comprise of BAT, which is the F4s. And they are going to be the ones interdicting the armored push. RAM is the USN A4s, and they are going to destroy the forward supply depot, the staging area for the push. And Ripper is our F-14As. You guys are fighter sweep and bar cap, giving the aircraft free sky to conduct their attacks. Desired end state is that we destroy their staging point and the armor that was attacking into Ramon is destroyed. And Egyptian forces run away. Weather is okay. It's scattered broken at 1820. That's going to be the big one for the flights today. Maneuvering through those clouds is going to be a factor for at least our ground pounders, and everything above that we don't really care about. It's 0900 local, so sun's up, guns up, wind a little bit. Yeah, it's a nice day. Gourd cards here, it's just kind of more general information we've already gone over. What weapons you're pre-equipped with. It's going to be changed to flight lead discretion. Within the purpose of the mission, and then we also have our E2 and our tankers listed here. Tankers information is listed in the comm card. Attack admin, flight leads, you guys can write this down. The X here is your flight number. So 3211 is flight lead, 3213 is element lead, etc. And will be important to set because we have a GCI that can't see aircraft type or your name. So having the mode 3 set will enable them to give you broc calls. Zoomed in picture of the AO, so you can see the target, the staging area is a supply depot. In reality, this is actually a border crossing checkpoint, so it's a big facility located on a major MSR, and this border line is a giant fence. Very difficult to miss. We've got lots and lots of visual references to point us to the supply depot, and their axis of advance is from the supply depot directly towards Ramon Air Base. So the F4s are going to be following this line, probably back from Ramon towards the target in order to intercept the enemy attack, whereas the A4s are going to be concentrating on the target area right on the border itself. We get some very crappy target imagery for this. This is the compound that we can see, and this is again a reason why we want to be below 18,000 for our attack runs here. You can see for the A4s, this is a large facility, and it's got some targets of opportunity that are high value. Hangars, trucks, command center, fuel storage, lots of stuff that's going to blow up. It is next to the depot that serves as the main checkpoint, as you can see. It's pre-war, so this is what the facility looks like on a nice day. You can see running more or less bottom to top through this image, the border, the fence line there, and you can also see very clearly the MSR that runs through this checkpoint, as well as city that is for us to avoid bombing, and some forest on the west side of the border that is a good visual reference. Here again, pre-war imagery of the target area. We think artillery's in this orange circle. Bad guys are going to be running towards Ramon Air Base, which is to the upper right in this image and to the east-southeast in reality. Waypoints are very straightforward. The Tomcats have more than everybody else. Tomcats get their caps. Rock is our bullseye, and Cairo is where the main enemy forces are originating from. So it's going to be origin hostile contact. Whereas Ram and Bat just have two simple ones. We have the IP and the target depot. Note that we do not have a Marshall waypoint. How come? Let's get to that. And it's this. So we have IP right in the middle, Hatzer Air Base over here, carrier way up to the north. And the idea for us is going to be that we'll use the Tomcats as a timer, the yardstick for the package. We'll take off from Hatzer Air Base on the prerogative of the F-14s coming out of the carrier group, along with the A-4s. So we're not going to have a Marshal. We are going to take off as per the Tomcats getting into the AO, and that'll be when our vulnerability period starts, when they do a fighter sweep down towards the FIBA and establish a cap on the far side of the FIBA. They're basically watching the entire Sinai for threats to come in and attack us. And as soon as they're in position is when the timer starts for us, where our vulnerability period is get in, drop as much ordnance as possible, and get out only when the Tomcats are no longer effective or have to RTB. Obviously, this puts everybody on more or less the same heading, so we're going to do altitude deconflictions, which is the next slide, very thankfully. So Ripper, you're up at 2-4 and above. Bat, you're at, so this is the F4s above the cloud layer as per this at 20 to 22, but you and Ram are both going to be dropping down below the cloud deck for your attack runs. So we're going to have to talk about coordination there to make sure we're not stepping on each other. And barring everything else that we need to cover, that's it for the package level. So let's talk a little bit more about coordination before we open it up to questions. The coordinations will be, we have 20 minutes from mission start. to get our jets off the ground. So 20 minutes is going to be first takeoff time. From mission start, that gives us 20 minutes to boot up our jets from a cold start, taxi to the active, and start taking off. Obviously, the Tomcats will be departing first from the boat with the A4s behind them, and the F4s will be taking off not after 20 minutes, but whenever the F-14s are airborne and give the okay. That way, we have everybody coming more or less at the same time. The Tomcats will be kind of west of Hatzer by the time they give a call, and everybody hits the IP at more or less the same time. So a fighter sweep will happen at the same time as the Phantoms and the scooters are beginning to look for and prosecute targets at the AO. We'll have only a couple of contract calls, but the big ones will be from the ground pounders. It's going to be very important in this mission. Last week we missed a Miller time call, so this week we're going to double down on this, where when a flight is out of ordnance or unable to prosecute or is RTB or has gotten blown out of the sky, they're going to report attack complete on package comms, and that has to get act by either the package leader or the cap, whoever's still alive. So the F4s are going to call in and tell the cap that when their bombs away, they don't have any ordnance left, or they're running home. And that's to prevent the cap from overstaying their welcome over Egyptian airspace, so that they can retreat as soon as the rest of the package is RTB. And same for the scooters. So you guys are going to let us know when your bombs are off or when your target is completely destroyed. There'll be a little bit of wiggle room for the scooters once you conduct your strikes against the supply depot. If you believe that it is completely destroyed and you still have ordnance remaining, you can contact the F4s for a talk on to prosecute more ground forces. I suspect there will be significantly more armored targets than the F4s are able to destroy. So if you have ordnance remaining, you can use it against those. I think that's the broad strokes. We'll open it up for the flight leaders first, and then we'll have Kajaksu add anything that I've missed afterwards. So from Ripper 2, Abe and Raz, you guys have any questions about the concept of operations here?
Nope.
Not for me.
Love it. And Eagle, is there anything you got questions about package concept?
From package level, no, I do have some questions for RAM flight.
Okay.
RAM flight, are you planning on doing one pass, or how are you planning on doing your attack runs so we can deconflict?
Planning on 2 max. Sorry, I'm leaving.
Copy. What direction are you planning on primarily coming from for that?
We're making, I think, basically a box straight on top of the target. 5 miles north, 4 miles. So we're gonna be coming in from the north, hitting it, moving out to the east.
Copy that. I think with that in mind, to try keep us apart, I'll set our box with us doing east to west once we identify the targets.
Nice. Okay, cool. And Ram, you guys have any questions about concept of operations here? Fuck yes. Okay, so the only thing that we need to talk about on a package level before we split off is how we're going to make that radio call. We do have an air battle manager today. What I would recommend is that the Tomcats check in with the ABM when they're airborne, figure out when they want the F4s to take off out of Hatzer, and the ABM can pass that message along to the Phantoms holding short on the runway. Does that sound okay to Rich and everybody else involved?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Love it.
Sounds good.
I do
Rich,
have. Oh, I guess so.
Yeah, I've kind of skipped over your role in
Oh.
all of this.
No worries.
So that'll be the number one thing
Yep.
is make sure the package
You know,
is
you
coordinated.
put that
so
like
we're maximizing
defensive
our
wall
vulnerability
down
period.
south
I suspect that
near
things
your
will be
landfill
limited
bit.
by
Did you have plans for the
money
area that
and
you
F-14s
locked behind it?
Spain,
No.
Nichols
I
and
didn't know it was an island.
Excellent.
Um, but you'll be
Excellent.
guiding their hand in intercepting threats and in
I have
protecting
a
the
very
village.
large thing to build.
Obviously, calling
Nice.
retrograde
That's
if
a very safe
bad
area.
guys start to leak through the cap screen.
Cool. Right. Bye.
But I would also love if you could, let the Phantoms know when to start off from Hatzer so that we regroup in a timely fashion.
Yeah, can do. I did just have a couple of notes from last time's debrief. So for today, pre-commit is going to be just general broadcast first, pre main groups of interest in, first group being the priority. That's going to be Bullseye or Rock today. But post commit, it's all going to be Bra main. So I'm mainly going to be focusing on the Tomcats because obviously they're the main sweep for today. But that's just what to expect. So I'll mainly be focusing on the Tomcats. So today, I don't think that will play much of a factor. Also, as well, I get the vibe that it's very pilot. Well, I think, for example, the package leader is in the F-14s, for example. So I won't be very directive. I'm just going to be providing information rather than go here, go there. Apart from obviously the call for the Phantoms to depart. Other than that, that's all I got.
Right on.
I'll just add on to the back end of that. It is important that everyone looks at the theater map now and makes a mental note of where Bullseye actually is. Even though the fight will transition to Brakles after the commit for the Tomcats, when you're flowing in and you hear that initial picture call, even if you're a striker, you should know where Bullseye is in your head so you can go, right, I have a mental picture of where the fight is. And then that will help you going forward. So look at the map. It is exactly where it is, and then you can use that.
So let's talk about that right now, actually. I'm streaming that slide right now. You can see Rock is here. It's in the middle of the Sinai on the north coast. So we can infer a couple of things. If bandits are called out southwest of Rock, they are ingressing the airspace, but they are not a threat yet. If they're southeast of Rock, they are coming our way. They are close enough to be a factor, and we should start paying attention a little more to the air picture. I think that's the more or less the easiest distinction. As soon as they cross the 180 from Rock, that's where things are going to get spicy. It would also be great if we had maybe a 30 nautical mile tripwire for the strikers. If bad guys get within 30 miles of the border, we're going to have to push back into Israeli airspace. And with that, I have one more question for you, Kajaksu. Do we have an Israeli IADS? Do we have any kind of air defense?
That is an excellent question. And I will open up the mission file in just a moment to confirm. Yes, but I think it is limited for two reasons: A, DCS unit count, and B, the fact that Ramon, and you can see on that map to the northwest of Ramon, there are two other air bases up there. In the story of this campaign, those are the air bases that have been pounded really badly by the arrival of Soviet aircraft in theater, and they have been knocked out. So, along with that, the forward parts of the IADs that were defending those air bases have been inoperable. So the strongest part of the Israeli IADs that you would want to fall back into is more in that sort of metropolitan area, approximately, 30 miles north, is where the remainder of the IADs would be from a story perspective. So, yes and no.
So runaway northeast. Hatzer is just put your nose in the direction of Hatzer and burn away for some coverage. Love it. All right, with all that wrapped up, let's split our flights up for the flight briefs. We will have, oh God, let me see. Let me get this right. I hate it when they're out of order. Here we go. Ripper 2, so F-14s to flight 1, A4s to flight 2, F4s to flight 3, and regroup in the briefing room when you're done.
Who winning?
Let's see. It's been 0% for 3 minutes now. I've just started DCS. I am clicking multiplayer now. Crash.
Many bytes were transferred. How few bytes are
Yeah, I'm not on WireGuard right now.
not like an
Oh. I shall now turn on WireGuard to look for servers. WireGuard's on. I'm clicking multiplayer. Are you on the server right now? Alright. See the server. I click join. And it went down.
like the game is crashing.
No. Game is
Oh, the VR.
no. Hardware's fine. It's the internet.
Oh,
Did you like everything's running fine?
any
Just dropped connection right there. The moment I click join. And now I'm back to 20% packet loss. It's fucking cursed.
to be cursed. Hope it's fixed. Oop. Try. See, the weird thing is that your packet loss stays. The fuck is happening? Packet loss.
Hello?
Hello? I'll try and see if it works on the other server. 69, let me ask them.
And now I just have constant packet loss again. So weird. Like deactivate WireGuard?
Try it, I guess.
It doesn't look like it's WireGuard. Because it's still staying. Where is the server? It's like Germany, right?
You have one?
No, yours.
Oh.